Sam's Gap. The old familiar. All right, we'll see you Sunday. Mama's ready to go, got her boots on, got her pack on. So this is the little spring about a mile up from Sam's Gap, and we're in the end of August and we still got a nice little trickle here. It's not too bad, but enough to get a little fill up.
Taking a picture of that steep slope back there.
Oh, you'll get probably another opportunity to take a picture of a steep slope. In fact, you know, be careful what you wish for. Here's a good little step. So you have to thank the maintainers for this kind of stuff. Good stuff, huh? Uh-oh, lost the Velcro. I'll help reattach that. Big bald.
Wait, I want the flowers.
So this is the meadow. That's Mama.
Hi.
The overgrown meadow. And big bald. Yep. So do you know what the double blaze means?
No.
Means there's a turn in the trail.
Okay. I read that yesterday, but I forgot.
Sometimes it's more obvious that there's a turn, but I guess in this case you can see there's some sort of trail that keeps going straight. Looks kind of like ATV trail almost. But at night, it might not be that obvious.
Right.
But they've got this marked fairly well, so.
Yeah. I must have lost it.
Street Gap.
Where are y'all from?
Asheville.
Oh.
I'm from Atlanta.
If you want to come up to here, go over to Upper Higgins Creek, and you can come up this side here. That comes up from Wolf Log, but you have to have a high off the ground vehicle to do it.
So you've come up here a bit?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love going out to Big Ball.
Yeah. It's a great spot. This is the power line right away. That's a really straight tree there. Here we are at the Low Gap campsite, which is the next water source past Street Gap, and it's a trickle. I looked everywhere, asked everywhere how this source was, and there was not much information out there. So we're having to get creative and really get the bag down in that water. And it's gonna be a little bit at a time to fill up the Sawyer bags. Anyway, so there we are. We'll get some. Alright, our hammocks are set up. There is my mom's. There's mine. And we are starting the stove up so we can grill some steaks, some beef tenderloin. I think it's going to be a beautiful night. We are cooking now. Oh yeah. You got a comfy spot there, don't you?
I do. I have a great spot. What's this?
Monkey knot.
Oh, okay.
It's from Huntsville. Straight to ale. Yo, what up? Chilling in the hammock. It's like, almost 11. So comfortable. Beautiful night. Moon is shining over that away. But Mom is loving the hammock. She ain't stirring. We'll see in the morning then. This campsite has served us well. Had enough trees. Protected us a little bit from the wind. Gave me a place to do some coffee. Don't look too excited.
Oh, sorry.
I'm excited for breakfast. Well, if you look hard enough, you'll find the pipe spring over here on the right side. The AT's up there. We came down and happened to go to the left and find that creek on that side that was a trickle. This one on the right's a little better than a trickle because I have this lovely pipe here. That should make it easy to fill. Yo, what up? So, yesterday, Friday, we hiked from Sam's Gap to Low Gap, and now we are headed up Big Bald from Low Gap, and we'll get over Big Bald and camp probably a little bit north of the shelter, Bald Mountain Shelter. But today it'll be mostly incline, but tomorrow starts the decline. It's a beautiful day, a little overcast. Feels like it's in the 70s. It's, well, even maybe 60s, but it's not quite 11 yet. So I'm thinking these clouds will burn off and we'll get a beautiful day on top of Big Bald and get the sweet views that we deserve. Anyway, here's the spring about a mile up from Low Gap, which is, I'm gonna say a mile or maybe more to Big Bald, but there's another one we'll pass here in a little bit. That's southbound. We're heading north. We had to dip in there a little bit. There's not much of a flow, but it's consistent. It's got a good little trickle coming out of there. Little drip drip. Get it, girl. Alright, just through the trees there is a water tower for that Wolf Creek or whatever the name of that place is. Little powerhouse, pump house up there. We're just a little ways up from the spring. A little trail that leads up to it. I'll catch up. So the spring was like a mile from Low Gap, and then this is just after that. Go. Well, this hike up from the spring has been awesome. Very well manicured trail. A few little hurdles with like some rocks and stuff that my mom found a little challenging, but for the most part, just some gorgeous trails. Got the beautiful landscaped edge here at the grass, and for the most part just a nice soft, organic soil. Put my chacos in. But beautiful day, a little overcast still. And we're at 4980 in elevation and working our way up to 5540, so we'll have some climbing at some point here. We're getting ready to pass some houses on the right here on this ridge, and we'll be at another spring, another half-mile or so, then we'll start the serious up for Big Bald. But beautiful day, especially for a hike. So I finally looked it up what the little neighborhood over here is called. It's Wolf Laurel Country Club and Ski Resort and Spa and all that. So it's not Wolf Creek or whatever I was calling it.
That, right.
Wolf Laurel. Well, we've got half-mile to the spring that's beneath Big Bald, a mile to the top of Big Bald, and about 600 feet in elevation, and then 2.5 miles to our little camp spot beyond Big Bald Shelter, or Bald Mountain Shelter. Cool. The trail is sweet through here. Here we are at the AT alternate for bad weather. Here goes AT North. So. Well, we're heading up Big Bald. We're really starting to go up now. Here's the spring that's at the beginning of the climb, really. And it's not much to it. It's a trickle. You could scoop and get some though. So just a few hundred yards up the hill from the spring that was trickling is a little creek here. Small, but probably get something out of that. Marching on up the hill.
They said, we know Judy's coming through here, so we want to make sure there's a lot of trees.
Trees to lean on.
Oh, goodness.
Maybe that's goldenrod.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I
These are cool. They're kind of on their way out, but pretty wicked looking.
Still interesting.
One day we'll figure out what those are. Get it, girl. Look, there's a hammer in that tree.
Oh, funny. That's a rubber hammer.
Yeah. I guess for driving stakes in the ground. Huh.
That does look like a camp spot.
Yeah, a little camp spot up here.
But somebody forgot.
Oh man, good stuff. This must be one of those nets, traps, whatever. Huh. Mountain shelter. Bear cables, some chairs, a picnic table, a shovel, and I believe the privy, yeah, there's a sign for it, is down this way, if you ever wanted to. And there might be some more camping around, so if you did want to stay here, we could. But they recommend we don't camp, so. But me and Jerry woke up to, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches on the ground maybe. We huddled up in that corner over there. It's all started to come back to me. Water down that hill. We'll get some video of the water source. I know it's 1/10 of a mile down, but this is a lot thicker than when I camped here back in March. There wasn't any green on the ground. And I actually hung between those trees over there, and it's pretty overgrown. We'll make this work though. I've got some ideas. Nice spot though, huh?
Nice spot. Very nice.
All right. We got it set up. Pretty long stretch on that one. I'm not real happy with this tree, but it seems fairly sturdy. Mama looks pretty comfortable. And here's Ninja's ASIM tarp. We'll see how this works out. Have it set up. It's almost too long. It'll work though. Soon to be campfire. Down the 1/10 of a mile blue blaze to water. Guess we'll see what it looks like. Well, it's been fairly steep, a little bit overgrown, but not bad. To the blue blaze. They look freshly painted. I think we're almost there. Not bad. So it felt like a fairly short 1/10 of a mile. And it's got a little pipe there. And that is a spring. Pipe comes in after, but very nice. Make short work of it.
Nice fire.
Thank you. We've left our camp at the campsite just north of Bald Mountain Shelter. And I'd say it's been a good couple nights. Been a little chilly, but better than sweating in the hammock. And we had plenty of layers and covers to keep us warm, all that good stuff. So we didn't get any rain. I think the rain all pushed off till this evening, and we should be off the mountain by then. We're heading to Spivey Gap. We'll be going over Little Bald. There's a mile and a half, there's a little creek. We'll see what it looks like. It just says it's not 100% reliable source, but so that probably means it's a trickle. I'll get a little footage of that. Of course, Little Bald isn't a bald anymore. And we'll head in 3 miles on the Whistling Gap, which is a couple miles outside of Spivey Gap, so it's kind of the last water source, maybe a late lunch spot. But been a beautiful hike. And this section's definitely beautiful in the summertime. You don't get as many views, of course, all the foliage, but the green walk, kind of a greenish tunnel, not really the tunnel of the rhododendrons, but of the Queen Anne's lace, I guess it's called, or I don't know. Anyway, but it's definitely engulfing the trail, but it makes for a beautiful walk. Alright, well, we'll see what that source looks like ahead.
Beautiful.
Alright, heading down Little Bald. It was a good little climb up it. Did want to show Rat, who's the trail maintainer. There are a little bit of weeds, but they aren't bad so far. Kind of just something to tickle the knees and the calves, but it's not like bushwhacking or anything. There's some stuff that's kind of crawling over the trail, but not too bad. We'll see if I can mark some of these deadfall areas. If there's some big trees or anything. But so far so good. Really isn't in too bad a shape at all. And of course we got our lovely view of the ridge to our north, I think, I believe. It's just kind of a little bit through the leaves there. But anyway, progress is going well. Well, we're here at a little stream, which it's not really a stream, it's kind of more of a spring, but it's what Guthhook app said, but it's just a little pool down here. I don't know, there's water there, but none flowing. So the trail's been nice. It looks like somebody's been doing a little weeding for Rat, or maybe he recovered a little early from his little rotator cuff injury, but definitely all along the sides through this section here lately have been kind of weeded very recently. So if it was you, Rat Man, thanks. Or anybody else, thank you. Alright, moseying on, see what's ahead. Might be to a Whistling Gap, but we also might take a little sit down here shortly when we find a good sitting log. Well, I wonder if this is the stream that the Guthhook app was referring to. It's a little more of a trickle. Might be able to scoop out of there and get a little. But it's about a mile south of Whistling Gap. Might even be flowing a little better in the wetter part of the season. Yeah.
Can you take your picture beside it?
Take yours.
Oh no, I might break your camera. That's pretty cool.
See? Alright, here we are at Whistling Gap. Have another little sit down snackaroo. Man, some great places to hang around here. And water source, we're gonna go check that out too. Plenty of firewood. And one soon to be on the ground. Well, that one's had better days, but it's still got green leaves. Well, I didn't see the creek, and I checked the Guthhook app. The trail kind of continued on, but the blue blazes didn't, so that's probably a sign there. I didn't walk too much further past what looked to be just a dried up source. And when I get up there, I'll catch a little film of it, but it was a kind of gradual decline from the campsite down to this road, so it wasn't bad. Maybe a tenth, 2/10 at the most. But yeah, this dried up source might catch somebody by surprise. So I suspect this may be it. I don't see any more blue blazes past here, and it's pretty much just a mud puddle and not even a drip. So the Whistling Gap source in August is dry. So this was the last blue blaze, and the source is just around that corner there. So that must be it. The campsite's right there. You can almost see my mom moving around. So it's really not that far, less than a tenth. High rocks. Go check it out.
I may look like an old lady going down here, but it's because I am.
Yeah, I think you're doing pretty dang good. Nice footwork.
Shoot.
Alright. Somewhat normal trail here. Alright. Stream's looking decent. It's a little hole to dip from. And it's flowing. We're about 7/10 of a mile from Spivey. So, home stretch here. Might be a little fall down there. Hear the water. Well, what are your final thoughts on this last stretch?
Well, what an adventure.
Yeah, and you're almost finished. All them climbs feel like nothing, huh?
I wouldn't go that far.
Oh, you did good.
You did too.
Spivey Gap. You made it. Sam's Gap, 13.6 miles.
And I believe every single bit of it.
Big Creek seems to be flowing nicely, or maybe this is Spivey Creek. I think it's Big Creek though. Here we are. There's your car. Last few steps.